Gentlemen, welcome back to the shop. Today's video we will be replacing brake pads and wheel bearings on my Ford Bantam. It's a 1300 Rocam. So let's get right into it. First, let's get the tail end up in the air. I started getting a bit of a hum I think it was about a month ago, and things just didn't work out, so I couldn't get right into it right away. But I suspect that it's the wheel bearing. But when I looked under the little bucky, I saw some leakage, and it looks like brake fluid. I think it's either grease from the wheel bearing or brake fluid or both. So I got all the spares. We'll be replacing the brake shoes, slave cylinder, and the wheel bearings. Always stay safe. Make sure you've got jack stands in and the car controller around, the vehicle controller around when you working on it. So guys always ask me, how do I manage to get all the tools I've got? What I do is I phone up a mechanic or whatever who's doing the job and ask them what it's going to cost, get the spares price, and I use the rest to buy tools. So in essence, you're paying what you would have paid the mechanic, but you've got the tools in the back end. So win-win. And my time is worth my time. If you're working for someone else, then it's fine. If you're working for yourself, your time doesn't really have a rate to it. So that's how I do it. If you start young, you end up, by the time you're 40 like me, you end up with a boatload of tooling that you can use. And then also ask your wife to buy you tools for birthdays, etc. So let's get the wheel off using my little impact driver. That was a birthday present this year. Working magic. Honestly, air tools, I just love it. Like, having a compressor around just makes it a lot easier. Makes you get things done quite a lot faster. So we're taking off the rear wheel. Then we have to take out that little grease cap. If you bend it up, and replacement's not that expensive, that's part of the package. They are a bit of a hassle to get out, but finally get them out. As you can see, there's still quite a lot of grease in there. So let's take the brake drum off. The brake drum needs to come off with the axle nut. 32mm socket. Yes, I know you guys are gonna kick and scream on using a standard socket in an impact. I don't have a 32mm impact socket, so use what you've got. That's probably one of the things that I'll buy at some stage, but I haven't really got that much use for that big of an impact. As you can see, the grease on the front bearing still, well, the outside bearing still fine. Taking off the brake drum, having a look what's inside. There I could already see there's a lot of weird stuff happening there. The whole inside of the brake drum is soaked with brake fluid. The bearing seems a bit weird, and as you can see there's some rust showing on the inside of the brake drum. So those brakes weren't what they should have been. Luckily I got to it in time. So let's start ripping the rest apart. This thing is an absolute mess at this stage. You've got all that brake dust along with the brake fluid leaking. Taking off the brake pads, brake shoes. It's got a little swearing clip. Getting that thing back on is probably the biggest hassle. At this stage I'm just taking everything off. I'm not worried about the seals and stuff on the slave cylinder, as we'll be replacing the total slave cylinder. Before you start taking things apart, take pictures. We've all got cell phones nowadays. It makes it a lot easier. That's the park brake cable. As you can see, that it's sort of separate from the normal. Just stick a screwdriver in there, makes it stand out so you can get away with it. Right, so now that we've got the park brake off, now we can start cleaning this. I used a boatload of brake cleaner just to get to a point where we can work on this thing. The brake fluid reservoir didn't really go down, but there's still some leakage. Alright, so now we are taking off the slave cylinder. You can just replace the seals in the little cylinder itself, but this bucky's got over 300,000 kilometers on, so I'm just scared that there's some pitting on the inside of the cylinder, and therefore for about $10 I replaced the whole cylinder. So $20 in and you've got a new slave cylinder on there. Now we'll take them out from the back. I'll show you just now. I'm going to try and get the camera in there. and start taking it off. Right, from the back, as you can see, there's some leaking showing as well. Little brake line just picks up. Later on I said, well, I'm first going to loosen everything up before I take out the brake line. Just makes less of a mess. Using some electrical insulation tape just to tape it off. Don't stick something in front in the mouth of the little pipe. There might be pieces staying behind once you get it off, so just take some electrical tape and just tape it off. Otherwise it's going to be dripping brake fluid the whole time you're working on it. So after that, I think the one side, funny thing is that it used the two sides used different fasteners. This side had a sort of a, can I say, I don't know, high tensile bolt in there. Used the 8mm socket on there. Came off fairly easy. And there we go. Now before you start installing the new spares, make sure that you've got the right parts. I can't tell you how many times I had to drive back to the spare shop to go and swap stuff out. I don't know where the disconnect between the part sales and myself is, but I never seem to get it right. And well, in this case it worked out. They said they gave me the right parts. So there was a little dust seal O-ring that I took off the old one and just put on the new one. Just put it back in, tighten up the two little 8mm bolts on this side. The other side, as I said, had 10mm bolts on it. Click up to torque spec, put in the little bleed screw, and put back, I don't think I've put back the line on just yet. I think over here I decided, let's see what comes out of it before we put the brake line back on. Right now the brake shoes just go back on. This side actually went on a lot easier than the right hand side. Make sure that you've got all the springs back on and in place like they should. That's why I say take the pictures. Make sure on just underneath the slave cylinder you'll see the self-tensioning bracket for the brakes. They do pick up their own slack as time goes by and the brake shoes wears off. There I'm putting back the brake line. We'll bleed them off later, and it seems that everything's sitting where it should. Okay, now we can start stripping out the inner bearing. Just taking my little seal remover. Great piece of kit, not to have, but make sure you don't mar the inner surface where the seal needs to sit. So I've taken out the seal, taking out the bearing. I can already see this is where the noise came from. There's some rust. I think this bearing got water in somehow. I think the shaft seal was leaking or something happened, and during the last rainy season I got some water in there. It was absolutely crusty. I can't tell you how bad it sounded when it was in there. Right, now we're taking out the outer races of the bearings. Probably not the way you should do it, but I haven't got a press and special tools to press it out or press it back in. Using a socket, just hammering back in the outer races of the bearing, making sure that you do not damage them and seat them properly and squarely. Then we're using some Castrol high temperature wheel bearing grease. It's I think it's a bentonite based grease. High temperature scenario, so you can actually use it on disc brakes that get on as well. Make sure when you're packing the bearings that your hands are clean. I use the little gloves when packing new grease in. I don't want any weird material, some grit, grime, a little bit of sand in the bearings, but because that'll prematurely just lose the bearing. And also, when you've got excess grease on your hand in that point, don't put it back in the container. That's how you contaminate it. So I'll always, that last little bit of grease, always just chuck into the receptacle to get rid of. Right, now that we've got all the bearings in, we've got the inner bearing seat on its place. Now we can just press in the shaft seal. I always take a little bit of oil or grease and just rub it on the bearing seal surface. Just makes it slip over the axle that much easier. And then always remember the lip of the seal going back towards what it should keep in. This is the right hand side. I'm going to run through this one again, taking off the The brake drum, taking off the discs, getting all of that out. This one wasn't as bad because it just had the brake dust in it, didn't have the whole oily mess on there. As you're going through this stuff, make sure that you're checking all the oil seals, bearing faces, races, etc, etc. Just have a good look over it. Cleaning out the drum, cleaning out the bearings. Once again, hammering out the outer races of the bearings. Just go slowly, just don't make a hash of it. Okay, so now that we've got them out, clean out everything. Make sure everything's clean before you seat the new outer races of the bearings. You'll see I try and work and keep it as clean as possible. But out of screen, just replacing the slave cylinder. Same story, nothing funny. I just left the brake line connected to last so that you can basically just take it off, slip the new one on and tighten it up, and then you've got the least amount of brake fluid spillage. Once again, cleaning up everything as we go along. I don't want to be touching brake pads with oily hands. Well, I try to minimize it as much as possible, let's put it that way. Now we're starting to fit the new brake shoes, and so far so good. At this point I was still very optimistic getting everything back in place, and over here it started going south. For some other reason, this little retaining clip, I just couldn't get it on. Kicking, screaming, swearing. Luckily that's why, well, I think that's why I don't have audio on this video, and decided to do a voiceover, because this was really the frustrating part of it. Something that should be simple and it ends up fighting you with everything it's got. So eventually I got it all back together, putting on all the springs and everything, getting everything tightened up. I don't know why this side fought me as hard as it did, making sure that everything's back in place again. But eventually we got there. Just take your time, make sure that you're going in the right direction. That's the main thing. Is a lot of times I try to put things back together the wrong way because I don't remember. That's why I'm hammering on taking pictures and all of that, even if you've got a workshop manual. Once again, packing all the bearings, races back in. Make sure that you've got the grease in right behind the roller elements. I just squeeze it in there. You'll see it come out the top end of the roller retainer. What do you call that little piece of plastic there? Some bearings got metal ones. So everything's packed with grease. Don't overpack it. The grease got to go somewhere when things heat up a bit. I don't say grease cooking out, but never pack something to the point where at cold there's no space for it to go. Then tension it back on as per the workshop manual, 235 Newton meters. And as you're tightening it, make sure that you turn the hub assembly before you get to the point of actually getting up to the torque spec, just to make sure that if there's anything and something's not skewed, that you set the bearing races and set everything in place and up to that point. And then once you get to that point, last little point, then click and we're there, making sure that's it. And we've got a torque down. Now just a little cap. I must actually go and get new caps. I'll do that this weekend, just hammer it on, or I'll just forget and leave them on there. It's probably what happened. I don't know, we'll see about it. Works like a charm, feels much better than just putting the wheels back on again. Setting the torque wrench up to, I think it was 85, there's a spec on there. And there we go. Now we can just do a final torque once it's back on the ground. Crisscross pattern, as you should. Well, those wheels need a bit of spray paint. And that's that. Both sides done. Now we can just bleed out the air from the new little slave cylinders. I don't think I'm going to show you guys that. I think we all know how to bleed brakes. Once that's done, everything's in place, ready to go. If you've made it thus far, thank you very much. Please rate, comment, subscribe, ring the little bell, and as always, stay safe.